Okay, hi everybody. I'm not gonna talk about Drupal. Sorry, disappointed. Hopefully you've been hearing about Drupal these days and you're fed up. If we can just talk about something different, something like responsive web design, which basically is gonna change the way we work. It's changing the way we work. Not gonna talk about how Drupal should change around this. It's already doing it. I know there are several templates around responsive. I think there are a lot of plugins that still should change to work better within this new technique. But anyway, I'm going to talk about basically a new paradigm, a problem, solutions. I'm not really going to talk about specific CMS or Drupal solutions. Hope you will provide with better solutions than me. Anyway, first things first. I'm Javier. I'm a web designer and front-end developer. I work in my own studio, street.com. I live in Barcelona. That's where the weird accent comes from. Sorry for that. And I'm going to talk, as I said, about responsive web design. What is this responsive web design thing? Some kind of magic plaster, maybe like HTML5, right? Because it's some kind of weird magic we can apply to websites. Sure. I mean, my website looks really bad on mobile. Don't worry, apply responsive web design. TM. Sure, no, obviously not. This is a new technique. It's a revolution. Something that is changing. It's probably the biggest revolution we're facing as web designers and developers. It's nothing magic. We can apply blindly, like, yeah, add some responsive there. Don't worry. But I think before talking about responsive web design, we should understand what is the web first. Because we've been, the web has been with us for like 30 years, maybe. Not good for the number, but I think so. About 20 years ago, first professionals appeared. They were called the webmasters. They were some kind of medieval barbers because they could cut your hair and also pull some teeth. I mean, there were some guys for everything, right? But well, obviously professionals have evolved from these times, but maybe our basic conception of the web hasn't changed in those years. So let me tell you a story about the tale about control obsession. Let me tell how we've been always trying to fix the web to look more like some print design poster or something like that. We've been keeping that in a cage so it can move or evolve or be itself. At the very beginning, we had 800 pixels wide monitors. So the web was 800 pixels wide. And that was okay, right? We just had to think about design and organizing that web on an 800 pixels wide screen. Everything was perfect, really. But then the screens started to evolve, getting bigger, wider. So this was kind of standard 1024. We tried it again. We tried to fix the width of our websites again. We left in 960, the famous 960 pixels. grid. So we just could leave some space in the margins, and sort of. And those were happy years. I think this was the golden age of the web. And the only thing we had to care about was Internet Explorer 6. I mean, wow, pleasure, nice years that will never come back. And I think we're gonna miss it. So after that, 2007, something happens. Basically, the first smartphone that doesn't suck, at least when browsing, happens. And then the elephant in the room, that thing that we just have been ignoring for this time, is surfing in your mobile. Who cares? Well, just pop out. So, but we said, no problem. We still can control it. We still can fix the web. So we're gonna prepare a dumb template without half of the content, few links. Just make some stupid mobile version. So we had the desktop version, the desktop web, and the mobile web. Two templates. We still could manage it. We could do it. Great. Until 2010, something happened. The tablet. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, who cares? We can still manage it. And maybe the tablet, we will do the tablet web. So we'll have the desktop web, the mobile web, and the tablet web. Just 3 templates. We can do it. Yeah. It's not a pain, right? Yeah. Well, but bigger screens are coming, right? I mean, on the smart TV, oh, sorry, we are not talking about the smart TV this year. We'll do it next year. We'll care about that. Sure. So maybe we can manage it with 4 or 5 templates. Wait a minute. Did I say 320? But not every smartphone or not every whatever mobile is an iPhone. So this is more likely you're going to see. Yeah. Okay. Listen to this. Nothing. I think we're doing something terribly wrong, and maybe it's time to understand the real nature of the web. Because the web is fluid. The web is universal, and everybody can access to the web from almost everything. And it's multi-device. We can't control how the user is gonna view the web. What the hell? We can control how the user is gonna view the content. Maybe he even doesn't access to our content through our website. We can't control that anymore. So how can we just work with this madness? Well, obviously, responsive web design can help with that. So just in case someone hasn't been the last year in the Earth, it's a bit lost about the responsive web design thing. Let's say basically that it's a way of design where the layout can adapt to different viewports, different screen sizes. So it's same code, but it's reorganized to present itself in different ways depending on how much space it has. If you want to Well, for more examples, there's a great gallery called mediaquery.es, maybe the biggest one about responsive design websites. But how are we gonna do this? Well, there are three pillars in responsive web design. The first is the fluid grids. Second one is the flexible media, flexible images or video. And the third one that are the media queries, that are some special CSS rules to change the layout where it doesn't make sense just to let in some percentage-based grids or something like that to flow. So talking about the first pillar, we talk about grids, flexible grids. We're talking obviously about percentage-based grids. So when the screen is narrower or wider, the elements, the layout, keeps some kind of proportion, because design is about proportions. So if the columns are 16% width and they have more space in a wider screen, they will keep the same proportion between them, or in narrower screens, etc., etc., etc. If we come from a fixed layout, or maybe we have Photoshop, fireworks, something that we have to extract the design and make it HTML and CSS, we can apply this formula, which basically is target divided by context equals a result. Wow, maths in the screen. Most of you are programmers, and I think if we designers can handle it, also can you. And obviously, talking more clearly, this is an example. If we have a classic 960 pixels width layout, and we have to set a 300 pixels width column, what we do is divide 300 by 960, and we have this weird number that if we transform it to a percentage, we have equivalent percentage that could be the proportion of 300 to 960 pixels in a percentage. Talking about the second pillar, the media, if we set video and images to a max width of 100%, these video or images will never be wider than its container. So if the container, if the column or whatever we have this element in gets narrower, these elements will shrink with its container. Of course, if it goes wider, it will grow until the point of its natural width. Obviously, the third pillar for the media queries, but are not such strange for us, since we've been using the ad media a lot of time, like in ad media print, where when we wanted to set some styles just for printing. And this works basically like the same. Ad media screen in this case. And here goes the magic, is the query. It's max width, in this case, max width 320 pixels. So, in this case, if the website is, if the viewport is as a maximum at 320 pixels, the style between the brackets will apply. If not, no. Obviously, we can ask the browser for width, height, maximum width, minimum height, etc., etc. There are other queries, but these are the most popular in order to design responsibly. Obviously, when we can use media queries, we can change the layout, change the general structure, we can change several styles, and obviously we might change the font size. Maybe for wider screens, we just want to zoom the text. We could use media queries for that. So that thing about responsible design, that this technique looks quite easy, right? I mean, it's not very difficult. And obviously, using this comes with certain challenges, certain things we have to face, problems that weren't before, with the fixed widths, the fixed layout. One of the most common issues is the navigation. Because when we responsibly size, whatever, a website, our first idea is navigation is on top, on the header, and we think, well, okay, just set float none to the links, and they will be one under each other, making a stack. It's an easy solution, of course, but it will become on this. So the first thing that our user will see will be a lot of links, maybe too much, instead of the content. So when we talk about smaller screens, it might make sense to change this a bit. We need the navigation to be accessible. We need the navigation, we need the user to find easily the navigation to go to different pages in our website. But we might not need to be so present in our website. Here are some ideas. First one, with a little bit of JavaScript, just collect all those links and make a select element. So when the user clicks on the select element, he goes to another page in the website. Another idea, why not having the navigation the bottom? Since when the user is reading and scrolling the website, if he finds the navigation at the bottom, he can go to the next page or whatever. He can, instead of going to the top. We can still have an anchor on top of our website, so the user can go directly to the navigation if he wants. By the way, this is becoming a common icon for describing navigation. But I mean, it's going to be as popular as the house for index or home. But we're still on it. I mean, I think most of the designs can manage, can afford to have a small text saying menu or navigation. Yeah. Don't expect every user to be super savvy about the web. We could still do another thing, JavaScript again, having a foldable menu on top. Obviously, we have a lot of solutions. These are just 3 ideas. And we can find a lot of them, a lot of design patterns, navigation, etc., etc., in this website, in this post by Brad Frost, which is quite good, and I think, well, it worth taking a look, at least for preparing our first responsive website, just thinking of the possibilities for the navigation. Another classical issue that we will have to face is the layout. First of all, the hierarchy of the content that appears in a wide screen might not be the best thing for a mobile. For example, if our, let's say, content number 2, or in order of importance, content number 2 is right here, and we just stop floating elements, it will be under number 3. So maybe we have to either rethink how we code, rethink what is the order of the elements in the code, or maybe we have to add some JavaScript to redraw the website in certain points. So again, the content hierarchy is an important thing to understand when we're applying a website that has to adapt to smaller screens. Again, with the smaller screens comes when the content becomes too long for a small screen to scroll down. Obviously, we could hide some content. We find ourselves hiding content in a smaller version of the website. We have to think about why this content is there. Maybe it's really unnecessary, and we shouldn't punish our desktop users with that crap. Another idea might be obviously folding content. So if we have a lot of content to show and a smaller screen, maybe we should fold some elements as the Wikipedia does in smaller version. It's another idea. Another question about the layout, another issue. Obviously, while we write new rules, write new media queries to adapt the layout, we are basically setting breakpoints. Here, where the design breaks, just redraw this. We find ourselves redrawing our layout every 10 pixels, we're doing something wrong. Maybe our design is not working in that way. Maybe we should think of something that can manage better percentage units. So let's think also of this. And the third great issue we have to face, obviously there are more, but as a general problem, are the images. How can we serve images for different, for wide screens, for small screens, for high resolution screens? Hello, new MacBook Pro with Retina. Yeah, I was happy when the problem was only in the iPhone, or in the iPad, right, everywhere. Okay. I mean, how can we serve 27 inches Retina display and very small Android version 1 screen? And how can we manage that? If we serve always the biggest images, we have a problem. We have lots of data going up and down. But, well, this thing is mostly solved on CSS. Not at all, but mostly. Because we can test widths and heights, and also device pixel rating. So, another idea, another issue, obviously the layout. How can we serve images for different, for wide screens, for small screens, for high resolution screens, for high resolution screens, for different And when the device pixel ratio equals to 2, what it means, the retina or high resolution displays, we can serve the proper image. But when we talk about imaging content, we still have a problem to solve. There are several solutions around there. The lazier one, the easier one, could be making the images just more bigger than you really need, and let the browser shrink down the image and obviously increase the pixel rate of the image. I mean, you don't really need exactly double the resolution of the image. Maybe playing with just an image just a bit bigger, we can avoid this pixelated feeling, this blurry style of when we're seeing in retina displays. Another option, maybe more intelligent than the first one, is using JavaScript to, for example, download high-resolution images when it's needed and after the whole website has been loaded. For example, we force the width of the images, so maybe they look a bit pixelated, but we still look that the whole DOM has, the whole website has rendered. And after that, we have a small JavaScript loading high-resolution images if needed, if it detects we need. That could be another solution. And obviously, other solutions, mixing server-side images, so we can give the exact amount of pixels we need for that website. That's okay too. There are, as I say, there are a lot of different solutions for this image thing. While we are waiting the responsive image group of the web WG to finally decide how is the definitive responsive image format. I mean, while we reach that, we can still take a look at those solutions. We can find an interesting article written by Chris Collier here, and makes a comparison of what should we need in each case. Quite interesting. Obviously, there's another solution that comes mostly from design and development. That is having no images, or at least no raster images. Obviously, we have a lot of new CSS3 features that we could use to draw elements. I grew up in an environment when we always said, okay, it's okay to not have border radius for boxes, but we should, in IE7, for example, or IE8, but we should prepare the call to action, the basic buttons with an image, because we want those browsers to have a very beautiful call to action, of binding or something like that. So we basically didn't use CSS3 on buttons or on call to actions. But nowadays, with different resolutions and obviously trying to avoid as much as possible requests to the server, we're more than happy to use CSS3 by default and just use an image when we have no option at all in other browsers, but just conditionally instead of by default. Another interesting idea is using vector, the SVG. SVG is becoming wide supported right now, and we can always use a PNG as a fallback. So when we have SVG files, I mean, we can make those logos, icons, or whatever a vector file could be, bigger, smaller, without losing quality. And the third one is obviously the icon fonts. Using font face, since it's wide supported, I mean, font face is supported since Internet Explorer 5, so we can deal with it. So using icon fonts, I mean, using a font that instead of classical glyphs, letters, has icons in it. It will be infinitely scalable because fonts are a vector format. It will be also quite manageable because we can apply a text shadow to a font. So we can, I mean, try to apply a shadow to a. Sorry?
Yeah, just on this subject, I've seen icon fonts on GitHub and they look pretty good.
Yep.
I've never seen SVG elements within a page. Is that possible?
SVG
elements.
elements.
Graphics.
You mean as inline images? Yeah, it's possible, but obviously it's not as supported. One great idea could be either load SVG just when you detect it's supported via a modernizer or anything, or maybe using it as a background image again with modernizer. There are several solutions, and obviously it's being used a lot right now because it's the only way we can handle with a lot of graphics in Retina displays. So obviously this everything, this new technique, new elements, new situation, I think it's going to change the way we work. Because we've been talking, I mean, we've been working basically in what we call the waterfall method. It's said that it's called waterfall because you prefer to throw yourself down to a waterfall before using it. Anyway, this is based in the different professionals, maybe an information architect, UX designer, whatever you call it, visual designer, the developer, front end and back end. They just stop working when its part is done and pass the ball. So it would be something like this, right? We have a boss or a client that asks for a website, and the whole team says, yeah, no problem, we'll do it. So here comes the information architect and says, yeah, I'm gonna do that, wireframes, yeah, gray boxes, lines, you know, UX things. And when he finishes the wireframes, he passes the ball, and the visual designer catches the ball, saying, yeah, no problem, I'm gonna open Photoshop or Fireworks or whatever, I'm gonna add some gradients and shadows, just, you know, designer things. And I have my PhD here. Here you go, and the developer catches the ball and just add some HTML, he says JavaScript, and well, maybe integrating a CMS, and that's it. We've got it. And the client says, yeah, well, this is not exactly what I was looking for. I don't like it. Yeah, it's never been a great system. But obviously it's completely broken when we talk about responsible design. We should be working on something like this, right? Something when the whole team is in the whole life of the product. We do small delivery, we show the product early, we talk to each other. Yeah, that's agile. Obviously the agile system, and I'm not talking about filling a wall with post-its. I'm talking about how the agile system works in terms of having the whole team involved and showing the product fast and making short iterations. That really could work for a responsive web design system. So, going a bit deeper, I'm gonna talk about 10 tips, 10 suggestions of how could these responsive workflows work. The first one would be communication. Obviously, an agile thing. Having the whole team in every meeting with the client, so they can spot problems as fast as possible. Wait for the wireframes to be finished and signed up and signed down when we can show them to the backend developer and let him spot some problems. You know, this is just gonna kill the server. Seriously. We can do that. Sometimes, when we are coding, the designer can provide some help. You know, loading this image is going to be like a lot of data. And, hey, maybe we can, you know, show just a thumbnail and let the user click it. So, suddenly, technical problems have a design solution. Vice versa. I mean, the whole team has something to add to the project. Second tip, the designer and the developer, especially the front-end developer, ideally should be the same person, but at least they have to be side by side. I mean, we are talking about finding design issues when coding. When writing our HTML and CSS and say, you know, that beautiful navigation you made, it's broken in 768 pixels or 750 pixels or whatever. I need a solution. You can open your Jira or whatever and ask the designer for a solution and wait 3 days, or just take the screen and say, you know, how could we fix that? Yeah, you probably should move it. Okay, it's quite easy. If we have the designers and developers behave like twin brothers, we can work quite fast, quite easily. Third tip, obviously, another agile thing, micro deliveries. Solve the project as fast as possible, so you can spot problems, save time, save development time, which means money, etc., etc. Help also the client or the boss understand why we have been choosing some strategies. Why are we taking those decisions, etc. Fourth tip, let's make an inventory of the content. let's think about which elements should appear in our website. Probably, which are the, let's say, some basic hierarchy. What's more important? What's less important? And obviously, try to find the limitations. Try to think these elements, what potential problems will have in our design. Fifth tip, obviously find the critical points. I mean, usually, as I said, the navigation, images, what are we going to do? Let's discuss this first, after having the whole PSD done. Obviously, a classic problem are the ads, because there are few responsive ad services, and most of them are fixed layouts. I mean, they are fixed widths. So if our website has ads, we have to work around that. Sixth tip would be mobile first. Obviously, if we are gonna design a website that has to adapt to smaller and wider screens, and we have to think about our limitations to make a better design. Obviously, the smaller screen is the first limit we'll have. So why not start thinking in it? I mean, instead of thinking that, yeah, I could tell you why. Because we have a mind used to design for the wide screen. And this is, wow, quite hard. It's a mentality change. But on the other hand, it will help us to spot the content hierarchy. What goes first, what goes down. Seventh tip would be make some reference sketches and go. I mean, don't wait to have high detailed wireframes to start testing your idea. Make some sketches that maybe explain a bit how the content will flow between different sizes, and also what the hierarchy of the content, and go make a prototype as fast as possible, so we can test our ideas and keep on going and see if we spot a problem. I mean, don't be like 2 months designing a wireframe in your favorite wireframe editor just to write some HTML and say, you know, my idea just doesn't go in the real world. So let's do a prototype as fast as possible, and obviously the next step is going to be designing the browser. It doesn't mean that Photoshop or Fireworks are there. We just don't need to design every template in a PSD to test how it works. We can take design decisions directly in the browser. Yes, if there are any designers here, start to code, seriously. We have to make those changes directly in a code editor, or not a graphical editor. And the 10th and the last tip would be design for everything at once. Yeah, I know I have said mobile first, but that doesn't mean we have to close the whole design, the whole code for the smaller screen before testing bigger sizes. If we do this, I mean, if we keep on testing while we code for different screens, you know, it's as easy as making the browser narrower or wider, at least for the first test. If we do that, we can spot, again, some problems fast and well, save a lot of time. So to recap, we can't control the web. Sorry. Just deal with it. Secondly, responsive web design can be a solution, but it will change our mentality. Thank you very much. Any questions or something?
Have you to share responsive too?
Sorry?
Have you to share responsive too?
Yeah, I think it's gonna. I can be very fatter. I think. Real questions? Yeah. Yeah, it's being used in a lot of websites. It's another option. I mean, I'm not a very fan of browser sniffing because you can spot easily which kind of browser is gonna come. I mean, but REST, responsive web design with server-side solutions, that's some kind of mixture in that. I mean, tries to detect the kind of browser and serve one layout or other. It's not a bad idea when we try to control the assets, control the amount of data we're gonna transfer, and it's being. I mean, it's a doable solution. Was that an answer? Great. Yes.
Normally, from the designer's point of view, some designers say that it's better work full in CSS, and others say that it's better low image. So what do you think about it? Between CSS and image?
The less, I mean, we just can't afford saying, you know, we are on a Wi-Fi world. Don't worry. Everything has 50 megas of data to download our website. We can't. We are a 3G world, and we don't always say that mobile equals to low connection. We just can have a desktop and a 3G access. So we're moving to a world of optimization. Optimization for, I mean, before everything else. We're moving to a world where each image, each new data, each new request is gonna cost a lot. I mean, if we can avoid images, we avoid it. I mean, we use CSS as much as we can. Sometimes, I mean, maybe the image we're gonna use is very small, and the amount of CSS is very high. I mean, we can find the balance. But the less requests and the less images we can use, the better. It's gonna be quite difficult to find those designs with full screen images. Maybe very, very popular in fashion some days ago. But we're going to just, well, let's say the amount of images is going to be a design constraint, as we had a lot of design constraints before. Yes? Perfect.
It seems that you're promoting the fluid, responsive design, and I'm wondering, you tend to use more like ranges for media queries for viewport sizes and having a fixed design for these different ranges, because that is a little bit more predictable, and I'm not running into rounding errors for pixels based on percentage values of the available space. So what would be the
let's try this. Which resolution is the iPhone, the latest iPhone?
No, and say that let's stick with there's ranges for these sizes, and you say, okay, this will look from 320 to I don't know 480. This will be my my layout, and from 480 to another range breakpoint, I will have another thing. I think that will.
The name of that is adaptive web design.
Yeah.
It's instead of basing our layouts on percentages, it's basing our layouts in breakpoints, which means basically that our website will look okay in the devices of today, but not necessarily in the devices of tomorrow. If then we just think the iPhone has in the portrait view has 320 pixels width, and the iPad has 740. I can't remember.
68.
Thank you. 768 pixels width, and we said nothing between. Any device between that will see the mobile version, which can be a bit odd. I mean, sorry?
The cable fire is 600 pixels.
Thanks. For example, the thing is, it can be, adaptive web design can be a solution. Sometimes mixed solutions work okay. For example, I've been working lately in a website that has a template, a mobile layout, but this mobile layout is responsive because it was very huge, it was very complicated to change everything, so we just move. I mean, we just browsers need the user, and if we thought it was needed, move it to a mobile layout, but a mobile layout that can adapt to different sizes. And there are lots of solutions. It's not that I don't want anyone to think this is a religion or something like that, and we have to apply it blindly. We have to know our constraints. We have to know the reason why we are designing a project. I think if responsive web design is gonna be manageable, or it's gonna be a pain. Okay.
So yeah, then in the end, you would say because if you want to do your job right with adaptive layouts, you would have to have too many breakpoints where to cover for all the different sizes, and with the fluid design, you would be always that flexible to account for every design, and then you would mind the problems you have with rounding and the length of texts and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Can I make a comment on that?
Sorry?
I think I always feel like I'm sort of out of the ordinary. People like to do these fixed-flip things, but I have a really big screen at home and I'm stuck with websites that are this big.
Yeah.
I'm always really preferring that power to the user rather than the website page, that I can actually stretch the screen. So I tend to be out of the ordinary, liking fluid things that go right from edge to edge. But now I'm quite happy because actually there's a real case for, when your device gets that small, it really doesn't make sense, well, perhaps you can argue both ways, but to limit, to have this wide band of light on either side.
Yeah.
And so actually, I quite like the fact that, you're going to be fluid always, but changing it's kind of a halfway house for this sorts of stuff. You actually being able to cater for different layouts as we go. Wide.
One option when we have really wide screens and we want to support them, like having a proper design for those big screens, would be basing our font size and layout in EMS and zooming them. I mean, just making your font size bigger for those screens. There are several solutions on this.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Thank you very much.